Okay, it's 10:30. Time for us to continue with our IGYS 2022 conference. We now have the second session titled Human Environment Interaction, which Mr. Sunil Ganu will moderate. And tech team, let's go ahead and start the session. Thank you.
Welcome to this second session of IGYS 2022. The earlier session, you will notice, spoke about issues between that we see all around us, whether it were roads, whether it were where you find peace, etc. This second session is a little more personal in that it connects you directly with the whole field of geography. For example, one of the titles that we are going to listen to today says, "The Green Tech in My Apartment." I am emphasizing the my. And "Man of Nature in My Apartment." Again, it is a personalized look at the space immediately surrounding these young students and the questions that were raised in their minds that they thought needed to be looked into. Please, technical team, may we now start the streaming of session number 2. We will come back and take questions at the end of these video presentations. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Arid Vivedi. I am homeschooling and I live in Delhi. I am 12 years old and I am a student of geography over distance. Every year with my parents, I go for high altitude trek in the Himalayas. I have been to Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, West Bengal, and Sikkim over the years. Trekking in mountains is both challenging and exciting experience for me. Today I will be exploring themes related to landscape of this trek. I will discuss my itinerary and route map. Also, I will be talking about my learning experience. During this trek, I mostly experienced mountainous landscapes that included grand snow-capped mountains, pine and birch forest, terrain covered with boulders and exquisite alpine meadows. Oxford Dictionary says that a landscape is a natural or imaginary scenery as seen in a broad view. There are two types of landscapes, man-made and natural. The landscape in which I went was a natural landscape. People like to see landscapes that are different from the landscape in which they live. For example, a person living in a village might like to see an urban landscape, or a person living in the mountains might like to see the seaside. Majority of trekkers trek in search of beautiful landscapes. They like to experience new landscapes because they provide a change in their normal routine. Experiencing new landscape is not a difficult task as you can do it by many other ways such as traveling in a vehicle, by admiring landscape paintings as shown here, or through a virtual landscape theater or VLT. This year in October, I went for Jagasuk Trek, situated in the Pir Panjal range of mountains in the Kullu Valley of Himachal Pradesh. The peak's height is at 5050 meters. The trek has stunning views of Dev Tibba Peak and Norbu Peak. The trek also gives views of glaciers, for example, the Dev Tibba Glacier. Dev Tibba is at the height of 6001 meter and Norbu is at 5220 meters. It was an 8-day long trek. We covered a total distance of 60 kilometers by trekking. We reached Manali by road and took a rest day for acclimatization to adjust to the drastic change in height and temperature. For next 7 days, we stayed in 5 different places at various altitudes. We also stayed in tents, slept in sleeping bags, and enjoyed innumerable landscapes.
मला आता अजून 20 मिनिटं माझं काम काही नाही.
We started from Manali to Jagasuk by car. From here, we started our trek. Today, we were going to Chikka campsite. The trail today was full of grass and pine trees. It was not as cold as expected. The mountains were snowless and looked rocky and brown. We were trekking through a valley, so there were mountains on two sides. As I told earlier, the valley's name was Kullu. We reached Chikka before 1 p.m. It felt cold as the campsite was covered with clouds. The next day, the morning was sunny and cloudless. Today we were going to Seri. The trail was same as last time, except there were no trees. The mountains we saw now were snow-capped. I reached Seri camp with the guide at 3:15 while my parents reached at 4:45 p.m. This was a very large campsite. Its area may have been over 1 square kilometer. On this campsite, we were able to see Deotibba Peak and some part of Jagasuk Peak. We also started to feel cold as we were now at 3,920 meters height. The next day, we started for Tenda. As you can see, the trail today was a steep one. We climbed a wall-like trail. The weather was overcast, thus it was cold. We had to keep a steady pace because if we stop, then our bodies will go cold and it will be difficult. The trail was full of brown grass. It was also stipply because of the frost. We reached Tanta at 1 p.m. It was a tiring trek, although short. The view from this campsite was amazing. Deotibba and Jagasuk Peak were literally in front of us. They were totally covered in snow. We were staying at Tenta for 2 days as we had to acclimatize to the cold temperatures and height. We were at the height of 4,200 meters. The next day we were planning to go on an acclimatization walk to a nearby lake, but it meant we had to walk 5 hours to the lake. We did not want to get tired, so we did not go. I learned to use mountaineering equipment by our trek leader. We use snow boots. These are heavy shoes used for grip on snow. Gaiters. These are used for stopping snow to get inside boots, and ice axe. In this case, it is used for protection in falling. My feeling as I looked at the mountains was of adventure if I could climb the mountain. I felt curious about what was behind or on the summit of it. A mountaineer is exposed to extreme weather conditions such as blazing sun, which can cause serious sunburns, and sub-zero temperatures, and snow that cause frostbite. All of this taught me the value of hard work in reaching a higher goal. I saw grand snow-capped mountains and walked through forests, boulders, and exquisite alpine meadows. Sometimes I also had to cross streams of freezing cold water.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I, Nidhi Nayan, is going to speak on the topic Analysis of Depletion and Conversion of Lakes into Urban Jungle. This project was studied by Sushant Radha, Nidhi Nayak, and Krish Singh. We are of grade 11th of Army Public School, Golconda. The lake and water bodies in our vicinity. Example, Langar House Talab recently overflowed during heavy downpour. We, as geographers, we wanted to research the cause and effect of this problem. Through this survey, we got to know so many things, such as the condition of the water bodies in the surroundings and the lake, which is now replaced with construction sites, disaster-prone area, and what measures can be taken to protect them. Mode of conduct of a survey. What is buffer zone? According to our survey, buffer zones are those regions around the lake's edge. A buffer zone is a neutral zone or area that lies between two or more bodies of land, usually pertaining to countries. Depending on the type of buffer zone, it may serve to separate regions or co-join them. Buffer zones. We measured the current dimensions of the lake through Google Earth. We demarcate it by using the method given below. For a lake having 5 km perimeter, the buffer zone taken is 2.5 km radius. This helped us in studying the risk assessment of the disaster-prone zones of the low-lying areas of the lake, which can lead to overflowing of the lake waters and submersions of households in its close proximity. We have created 3 perimeters around the lake. The red line indicates high flood-prone region. The yellow line indicates medium flood-prone region, whereas the green line indicates low flood-prone region. Here is the comparison on the basis of size. In our research, we visited 4 lakes in a surrounding area, in which the first lake that we visited is Usman Sagar Lake. Its dimensions are: distance is 5.51 km and the area is 1918.21 hectares. Second lake we visited is Himayat Sagar Lake. Its dimensions are: distance 7.41 km and the area is 1646.96 hectares. The third lake we visited is Katora House Lake. Its dimensions are: distance 0.18 km and area is 2.09 hectares. And the fourth lake visited is Langar House Talab. Its dimensions are: distance 0.48 km and the area is 9.46 hectares. As we can see by the help of this time lapse, we can see that how the lake has changed over a period of time. Observations about the lake sites. During our visit, we observed that the Katora House Lake was polluted and their foul smell were also observed during the survey. At Langar House Talab site, people have constructed houses very near to the bank of the lake, which is also a flood-prone area. At Usman Sagar Lake site, we have also found that people were dumping construction waste into the water. At Langar House site, we also observed that people were dumping their household waste into the lake, which leads to many harmful diseases such as dengue, malaria, cholera, hepatitis, etc. Apart from water pollution, the lake sites were also subject to other forms of pollution such as noise, air, and land pollution. Household waste and plastic waste was observed at the Langar House Talab and Katora House, both the sites. After the COVID pandemic, medical waste such as masks, gloves, and shields were also seen at some sites. Near Katora House Lake site, many new constructions were happening. At the Usman Sagar Lake site, we observed the construction of roads were also happening. Steps to combat: awareness about our ethical responsibility to safeguard these lakes, fencing the lake perimeters to avoid further encroachment. There should be strict government policies related to our water bodies. Better sewage system should be there. Sewage treatment, monitoring construction and waste disposal. Here is an example of pollution from Langar House Talab. The government decision to convert all water bodies covering less than 10 hectares of land to residential and commercial zone has led to the extinct of more than 3,000 water bodies. Even these two articles refer to same cases. Conclusion: disaster risk. Many lakes are at risk due to construction project. Encroachment of lakes has led to pollution of these lakes. Most of these lakes are getting replaced by construction sites and households. I would like to thank our respected principal ma'am, Mrs. Vidya Mulidharan, our mentor, Mrs. Ruhi Malik ma'am, for giving us this golden opportunity. And I would also like to thank IGY's team for their guidance throughout the project. Thank you. This project was done by Sushant Radha, Nidhi Nair, and Krish Singh.
Greetings to all the respected members of the Institute of Geographical Studies, TIGS, Dharani, USA, and Dr. Chandra Shekhar Balachandran. We, the students of Army Public School, Golconda, consider this as an honor to present our research on the topic of spatial analysis of dengue in the Sun City region of Hyderabad. India had never really planned for a dengue epidemic prevention strategy, so various groups and people.
Since early June, dengue cases have been on a rise, not only in India but in Telangana also. Sun City area has also seen a rise in dengue cases. One of our friends in our school fell sick because of dengue and did not attend school for 2 to 3 months. This intrigued us and we started researching on dengue. We found some very interesting facts and some shocking numbers. Just a few months into our research, we got this golden opportunity to present our research. What is dengue? How does it spread? Symptoms of dengue, the area we chose to survey, our methodology, what we found out. All of this will be shown in the upcoming slides. But first, let's head to our acknowledgements.
As we start, we would also like to thank our respected principal, Mrs. Vidya Muralidharan, for giving us this golden opportunity to participate in this prestigious event. We would also like to thank our mentor, Mrs. Ruhi Malik, to guide us through the project. We would also like to express our gratitude towards the Institute of Geographical Studies, TIGS, and Dharani, USA, to give us this wonderful platform to present our ideas, skills, thoughts, and findings. Thank you once all again to be a part of our project.
Firstly, we would like to answer the question, what is dengue? Dengue is a viral infection transmitted to humans through the bite of infected mosquitoes, for namely Aedes aegypti mosquitoes. How does it spread? Aedes species mosquitoes prefer to bite people. These mosquitoes become infected when they bite an infected human with the virus, thus spreading it to even more people. They are mostly found in hell water like buckets, bowls, animal dishes, etc. For our study, which area did we choose? We chose a 10-kilometer radius from APS Golconda with proximity to Musi River and 5 lakes in the region. These were taken for our study. Why this area in particular, you may ask? Musi River and 5 lakes are the top propagators of dengue since they have stagnated water. Since we know the areas that we surveyed, let's see how did we conduct a research study. Our team decided to start applied research by gathering the information through a survey, surveying all the individual clinics and hospitals by organizing a questionnaire to the clinics and hospitals. We amazed the needed statistics from 3 clinics and 2 hospitals. What did we find out? After surveying 3 clinics and 2 hospitals about dengue patients, we found numerous results and some interesting cases. The results have been presented in the form of pie charts, line graphs, and bar graphs in the next slides. From the pie chart that we just saw, we can say that younger children are more prone to dengue. But why? Children are particularly vulnerable to dengue because their immune systems are weaker than that of adults and they tend to spend more time outside as compared to adults. So, they are more exposed to mosquitoes which can carry dengue. This pie chart shows the total number of people affected by dengue since years 2017 to 22 September in Sun City, Hyderabad on the basis of gender. So this answers the question, why are men more prone to dengue compared to females? This following pie chart shows the severity of dengue cases. This line graph shows the upward trend of the number of cases of dengue in Sun City, Hyderabad post and pre-pandemic.
This bar graph shows the total number of dengue cases recorded post and pre-pandemic in Telangana. And this bar graph shows the total number of dengue reported cases post and pre-pandemic in India.
The Bangladesh Jagir Municipal Corporation, and here with us today is Mr. S. Naresh, who is the Health Inspector of Bangladesh Jagir Municipal Corporation, and here he is to answer some questions that we have given below. Yeah, to start. The first question is, what steps were taken by the BGMC to combat dengue from the year 2019 to 2022?
Yes, we are taking various steps to prevent dengue fever, like various programs like door-to-door campaigns and like say state government programs, and spraying bleaching, spraying malaria, and using the paracetamol, and etc.
How frequently is mosquito repellent fogging done on a monthly basis?
Monthly twice, we are doing monthly twice. Fogging.
With the gap of
15 days. Every 15 days we are doing fogging.
how has the central government or the state government helped you in combating dengue throughout these years?
Yes, state government introduced a program that is PPP, Prati Advaram, 10 గంటల 10 నిమిషాలు. So every week we are conducting the program. In this program, involved by respected mayor and respected commissioners and ward corporators and ward officers and others.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. And here, as we come to the end of the interview, we would like to thank the cooperation of the Municipal Corporation of Bangladesh.
Now we will see the measures taken by BGMC to mitigate dengue. Regular fogging has been done by BGMC every 15 days a month. BGMC has also conducted various dengue awareness camps. The state has introduced 56-week campaign PPP, Prati Adivaram 10 గంటల 10 నిమిషాలు. The municipal corporation has also been making Kacha drills for the movement of stagnant water. BGMC also took up various IEC, information, education and communication activities to fight it off. As we reach the end of this presentation, I would like to sum up some of these points we mentioned above. Dengue is a mosquito-borne disease found in stagnant water which is accumulated near areas like ponds, rivers, garbage disposals, refrigerators, etc. Dengue is of three types, namely dengue fever, dengue hydrographic fever, and dengue shock syndrome. The patient data that we had collected showed that the age group of 11 to 20 years was more affected than any other group. It also indicated that males were more prone to dengue compared to females. After assessing actions taken by municipal corporation, we conclude that state government organized PPP, conducted IEC activities, and etc. To all the respected people who gave the time and patience to listen to our presentation.
Here stands my apartment. Once, my apartment complex was full of trees, a well ventilated place with proper sunlight. It was so cool that when my friends and I go down to play, I feel the cool breeze inviting us to spend some time with them. Every year, most of the residents plant a tree in our apartment, and in my home, we love growing plants so much that our balconies are full of plants. And these splendiferous plants give us serenity and relaxation. But because of moving towards the development, many trees are slowly getting cut. And as a nature lover, this disappointed me. From when my friends and I decided to dig deep into gardening, discussing with elders and round tables among ourselves gave rise to the idea terrace gardening, a place filled with serenity. But talkathons with the association had driven a conclusion stating it would frequent watering would lead to waterlogging and leakage, and we do not have proper knowledge on what plants can be grown on rooftops. Even after listening to these obstacles, there was a hope for the idea to be implemented. But how? Is this possible? Can technology be a solution? We consulted many experts, discussing and deciding on an effective methodology, and we visited many places and apartments where there is already the implementation of terrace gardening, where we got many new and creative ideas on terrace gardening. And that was when we also found out that terrace gardening is not only the place for serenity, but also a place for creativity. But we still wanted to know opinion from our apartment residents on how can technology play an effective role in terrace gardening. And we interviewed 105 people in our apartment, whereas 90 of them stated that technology can definitely be a solution for an effective terrace gardening even in the future, whereas 15 stated that terrace gardening and technology has no connection. What technologies can be used? When we were discussing about this topic, 44.8% of them stated that various apps are necessary to know about the health of different plants and to know about what are the important factors for the plants to be grown on terrace, on what are the suitable plants that can be grown on rooftops. Whereas 28.6% stated that aeroponics is a better method which doesn't use much soil or water, and hydroponics was accepted by 14.3%, whereas others stated that any technology that is always beneficial can be used. But we should never forget that there is an organic method of growing crops which should be even equally followed in terrace gardening. And that was when we driven a conclusion stating that technology can definitely be an effective methodology for the future of terrace gardening. And our implementation started with then aiming for an organic terrace gardening. We started with making compost out of kitchen waste. And every day we definitely spend an hour in terrace gardening and its implementation. So this was when we found out that terrace gardening can not only be implemented on the terrace, but we also started growing plants on different places, like on the staircases, and even at homes that give us a peaceful environment, at the same time healthy environment. From this, we conclude that terrace gardening could be the future of the world, not only because of its effectiveness, but also because of its sustainability. And we learned a lot of values from terrace gardening, like patience. And while interviewing people, we learned about the communication skills. And this was how terrace gardening had played an effective role, not only on the field of health or peacefulness, but also in developing a positive character among ourselves. Thank you.
Man of nature in my apartment. Loving and caring. Put his entire life for the little plants he grew. Always in the ground, planting and giving life to the apartment. Uncle loved Mother Nature. We kids loved helping him, of course, mudding our clothes and enjoying the little time we spent. It felt life in our apartment. We had very little memories, but those memories were so important to us. Usually we would create a huge mess and would have soiled our clothes, to which uncle would say, nature is beautiful. It marks us precious with soil to show a little love for the gift we give by gardening. They will grow so big and blossom filled that they will give so much more than we expect. For these moments we spent, nature gave us a whole new world. Was it worth it? Today, I see an apartment with beauty, filled with plants and happiness, from playing in the shade with flowers to bloom and fruits to eat. The amount of time he spent in growing and caring Mother Nature is enormous. Today, we see how much greatness it has. That time he spent now makes us happy and filled with peace. Role of architecture. Architecture can help us in so much. And how can architecture help us, you ask? It plays an amazing role in our lives. For example, building with timber can help us in many ways, such as avoid greenhouse gas emissions from cement and steel production. It can also turn buildings into carbon sink as they store the CO2 taken up from the air by trees that are harvested and used as interior timber. Sustainable architecture. Architecture that minimizes the negative environment impacts of building through improved efficiency and modernization in the use of materials, energy, development, space, and ecosystem at large. Values that are learned. Trees are one of the most important things for life, and we need to learn to cherish them. They build a positive character in us. Time spent on gardening is always worth it and never gone to waste. And I encourage socializing. Thank you.
Before we go to the question and answer session for session 2, I shall just simply read out a message that Dr. Chandrasekhar has put in the chat for those of you who might not have noticed it. We realize that many of you have not had a chance to engage in discussion due to lack of time within the sessions. In order to give everyone more opportunities to participate in discussions, we will extend the conference discussion after the conclusion session until noon, that is from 11:40 to 12 noon. This extended time is for everyone, but especially for student participants. Thank you, Dr. Chandrasekhar, for this extension. Now, coming to the question and answer session for session 2. If you have a question to ask, please raise your hand and also think of one positive thing to comment on the presentation for whose presenters you have a question. It's the TIGS rule. We must follow it. I invite you to ask questions. Yes, Dr. Chandrasekhar, please go ahead.
Thank you. Again, more than a question, I found that all of these were very interesting. And the point you made at the beginning of the session about how personal two of the titles were. But I would like to point out that all of the presentations in this session, in fact, even in some of the previous presentations, have a very personal angle to it. So the students who are participating in today's conference have all personalized geography to their own lives also, and to the world that they live in, immediate world, which is exactly what we want them to do, and they have done it very commendably. So I'm very happy about that. One of the things that I keep thinking is maybe since the school curriculum and the textbooks do not provide time and space for children to learn geography research skills, and these skills can be applied to any research they want to do in any subject, how interested would children be in attending a TIGS course on how to conduct research in geography for IGYS specifically? If this is something you're interested in, please get in touch with us. You can go to the website and use the contact us link there, and let us know if you're interested. Give us your name, your school number, your school name, the standard you're in, and so forth, and we will see what we can do, because these presentations today are nothing short of inspirational. And for us to foster this and help children develop these skills much more, I think TIGS has a very serious role to play. We can arrange something by which we can offer a course for all of these kids, but we need to have some idea of how seriously interested they might be. So please do get in touch with us on the website. Go to the contact form and send us an email letting us know if you're interested. And this is open to everyone, including teachers, parents, students, whoever wants to learn about how to do research, if not to do research on their own, to help others who might want to do research, especially children. So that's the comment I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrasekhar. I am still waiting for questions from the rest of our participants, our attendees. Please remember, all the children who have worked hard on these presentations are going to be disappointed if you have no questions to ask. Yes, Dr. Mutata, please go ahead.
Hi, my question is addressed to the presenters of Man of Nature in My Apartment. I think that's just Aparna. Who is the Man of Nature? I didn't quite catch that in the presentation, or was I not paying enough attention? Can you explain to me or give me a little bit more detail about who that person is or was?
Aparna, please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you a lot. So, the Man of Nature of my apartment is actually my neighbor. So, he took a lot of time in this and put a lot of initiative to make us all understand nature's worth in our apartment. And he actually is a lot older to my own grandparents. So, I was really happy that he took so much time for us. And thank you.
Okay, Aparna, so could you tell us a little bit about him? You know, what did he do in his life? What are his views? So that we can, in geography, one of the things we do is we try to understand the why. You know, we ask why questions of an important factor or a condition that we notice. Okay, so you have clearly been very interested in nature. You've been touched by the fact that there's a lot of greenery in your apartment, and you trace it to a particular person. Now, can we take it one step back and say, okay, what is it about this person and his life and his history that made him do these things, which in turn then influenced our environment in the apartment? Can you take it one step further and share that interesting story with all of us?
Yes, ma'am. So, after his retirement, he shifted to our apartment with his family, and he would always. He never told us about his olden what he used to do, what his work was, but he always told that in future, when things get really hard, the plants around us are going to help us in a lot of other ways. So now, back then, it was not this. During summer times, it would be lot less hot, and the heat would be really less. Now it seems the same weather, but once we go out of our apartment, we can see how much heat is that, because the trees with their branches, they cover up and they take in the heat from the surroundings. So he always told that this will help out in a lot of ways, and now it does. And afterwards, he shifted and he went to Pune so that he can spread the other wonders and help out a lot of other people. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Aparna, for sharing that story. There is a question from Yashraj. Please go ahead. Yashraj, please go ahead. Kanishk, can we please? Okay.
He is unmuted. I don't think he's speaking.
Yashraj, could you please type your question in the chat box? You are not audible at this time. No, unfortunately, seems to be a problem. Okay. Any more questions, please?
Yashraj just made a comment in the chat window, but he sent it to me directly. He says, yes, sir. So I'll message him asking him to put the question or comment in the general.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
please. Thank you. While we wait for Yashraj to put his question in the chat box, Deepika, please go ahead. Deepika?
Yeah, I think, I'm able to unmute myself. I'm not able to unmute. I mean, I'm not able to start my video. That's all right? Okay.
Yeah, it's perfectly okay.
Okay. So, I mean, I would really like to say both session 1 and session 2 children have really, I mean, I have put that comment on in my chat box. Yes. Also, I would not repeat that. Particularly for this session, I was kind of fascinated by the fact that, I mean, or maybe not aware, I should say, especially that lake conversion regulation. It seems somewhere, I mean, the children brought out that less than 10 hectare lands were allowed by government for conversion. I mean, is it particularly in Telangana, or I would, if anyone can comment on, if the children who are involved in this, that is really something I would like to ask them. And also, secondly, the same children for lake conversion presentation. I would also appreciate that the time and effort they would have taken to interact, go around this, 5-kilometer area or somewhere around they had gone and visited these lakes. And I really appreciate how did you manage to take out that much time? Was it in school hours or was it would you like to just, children have not talked the efforts, the story behind their research.
Yes.
And that is
would
something
Yas-
which is good if they can talk about. Yeah.
Sorry, would Sushant, Nidhi, and Krish respond to Deepika's question, please? Are you here?
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Sir, thank you for giving us this opportunity and this platform. So we would appreciate your compliments. And the thing is that we actually decided that firstly we will survey the 5-kilometer radius. Then we extended it to the 15-kilometer radius. So the actual part of survey is of 15 kilometers.
Oh my God.
Yes, ma'am. And we in our school hours also and after school hours also we have done the survey, and we have divided the work into teams. We conducted this team, we made our team and distributed our work. And this is more oftenly I did the technical work as my team member Chris Singh, he did the survey work, and Nidhi Nair, she studied the spatial data and the satellite analysis.
Oh my God. And you also had interviews included, right?
Yes, ma'am. We asked people about their situations. Like when we went to the survey site, there were residential spaces too. So we asked the people.
Mm-hmm. So how much time did it all take? I'm just wondering, Sushant.
It took almost a week for us to go to the sites.
You managed in a single week? That's amazing.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, it was a project which was related to our studies also. Because as in our books also, I'm a student of humanities, so I took geography as my subject. So we study about environmental studies, and the global warming is also increasing day by day. So that's why we took it as serious, and in 1 week we completed our survey.
So you could make it a co-curricular activity, this project?
Yes, ma'am.
That's really great. And that's an, I think, idea which, we could try including in various schools, like, how we could include this as part of co-curricular. Wonderful. Thank
Even
you.
our school also.
Sushant,
yes, sir.
Sushant, let me tell you right now that every single word that you have just said is totally music to Dr. Chandrasekhar and Dr. Mutata's ears. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sure,
Thank
sure,
you,
yeah.
Okay, do we have anything from Yashraj? Yashraj, your hand is still up. Oh no, now he's disappeared completely. Sorry, we have Hari Kumar who has raised his hand just now. Will you please go ahead, sir?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, I really liked all the presentations made by the children. Having seen several IGYS presentations over the years, I can see that the mentorship program for this time has really come out well in the presentations, where in every chart that is there, the key for the data was there prominently placed in every chart. And also the bibliography or the resources that were used, all those were clearly mentioned. And it was wonderful to see each of those presentations so complete and so fully done. So it was very nice. Kudos to the entire mentorship team as such. And
thank you very much.
I had a specific question with regard to the trek is just not a walk to Arav Dwivedi. It is a subject close to my heart as well. And the presentation touched upon the journey. It was very nice to listen to the journey. And one particular statement really caught my attention. He spoke about how in a Himalayan trek, the movement it needs to be continuous so that you don't really, you don't catch cold. So my question to him is, were there any kind of preparation before the trek to address this particular issue, and how this particular challenge rather, and how different geographies affected this particular, I mean, preparation? Like walking on a valley and walking on a ridge might be different with regard to the pace of it. How to pace yourself in those different geographies? Can he explain his experience about that? Yeah.
Okay, Arab, will you please answer the question?
I don't think Arav is in the call right now.
No,
Arav is under his mother's ID.
Oh,
Aparajit.
okay. Sorry, apology.
So,
Oh yes, here he is. Go ahead, Arab.
yes. So I didn't understand your question. I mean, could you repeat it?
Hari Kumar, sir.
Okay. My question was, am I audible now? Yeah. My question was, you had mentioned that when you walk on a Himalayan trek, there is a need for constant movement so that you don't catch cold or catch the frost while you are on the snowy regions. So were there any kind of preparation before the trek for you to pace yourself? Because there is a general tendency when you climb that you climb really fast and you sort of pause at the end of the climb. So is there any was there any preparation before you went on the trek with regards to this? Was my question.
No, there were no preparations, but I walked 5 kilometers every evening for to keep myself fit for the challenges and the.
Okay. All right. Okay. And
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Hari Kumar, please.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Need to give everybody an equal chance.
Okay. Yes, Yashraj's question is now in the chat window. So the person who presented about the terrace gardening, that question is for them. So if you please.
Oh, wait. I think I am going to read that out to everyone. I would give props to the presenter of Green Tech in my apartment for bringing out tech into the topic of terrace farming. I am curious, the fact that how would tech help in combating the disadvantages of terrace farming, like reduction of water circulation and degradation in soil quality, with plenty of other cons. Thank you for letting me ask this question, and apologies for the mic glitch. Sir, we understand there are things beyond our control in this technological world of ours. So if the presenters of the Green Tech in my apartment, Anaga, Ashika, and Arfa, would please read the question, which should be visible to everybody, and answer. Okay. Dr. Mutata.
Thanks, Sunil. I was also particularly touched by Arav's presentation on his trek. And it really reminds me of the young girl who's still very alive in me, that, you know, I became very interested in landscapes when I was in 7th standard, I think, and I still have very vivid memories. And every time I would read storybooks or my geography textbooks, I would always have this picture in my mind that would come up of all these landscapes. And I still behave like that when I travel, or even when I look at maps. And I'm also very interested when I see these certain shapes in maps and I travel to that particular place. My husband teases me a lot. I keep running around and trying to find that exact shape. So for example, Point Calumet, a place in Tamil Nadu where, you know, there's kind of a nose-like formation just above Sri Lanka, and we visited that marshland. And I kept walking the length of that beach trying to find where the land turns, you know, the earth, you know. So Arav's presentation really reminded me of that. And I want to float an idea with all the students here what if we formed a geography club? Sunil, Dr. Chandra and I have actually put together a course which we're planning to float next year. And it's a 10 session course on learning to do research in geography. Am I right, Sunil? 10 sessions, right?
Yes.
Over 5 weeks. So we could also tweak that to, modify it to make it a course about exploring landscapes. And I think but only thing is we'll have to limit it to just 10 students because of time factor, and where each, students pair up into groups of 2. So it would have to be, those who live close by or live in the same city. And over a period of time, you undertake a nature walk and or explore a landscape. It can be any type of landscape. You explore it in different ways. And we have this geography club meeting once a week on Saturdays, where we help you develop that into a presentation and a research project where you understand that landscape and explore it visually, sensorially, and understand the geography of it and ask questions. So I would like to see a show of hands. How many of you would be interested in such geography club activity? And we can work towards then sharing it in next year's conference as an exploration of landscapes. Let's see.
To take your idea further of the club, any exploration that is done by club members could also be turned into a multidisciplinary activity, first with description and then with actual factual studies of that landscape from a geographical point of view. But before the geography kicks in, I had in mind that they could write about what they see.
Right, that would be part of our tools, So one of the things that we keep noticing in all the IGYS conferences is that children have a lot of curiosity and, research. What we, in TIGS, we try to make this distinction between producers of knowledge and consumers of knowledge, So are we inculcating a culture of producing knowledge, or are we just inculcating a culture of children just consuming knowledge, just passively consuming it from the screen or from textbooks? And I think in TIGS, we really want children to be the producers of knowledge. Now, when you produce something, because we live in a society, it naturally is a common good, a collective good, because we share it with everyone. So even if you take a person who is producing a packet of chips, yes, he is a private entrepreneur, he's producing it in his factory, he's selling the packet of chips for a price, but yet it is going out to other human beings in a society. So at some level, it is a common good. So that is why we have food safety standards for health and that sort of thing. So similarly with knowledge and research, we are not doing it only for ourselves and our curiosity, we are also doing it to share it with fellow members in our society. So there is a way of doing it, and those are the methods or the rules or whatever you want to call it. And we feel in order to convert that initial curiosity into a good product which others can consume and give feedback on, and you can actually grow that knowledge together, there need to be certain skills, and we can teach you those skills, just like in your interactions with Dr. Chandra in the last 1 month, how you have grown this idea into a product that you have now shared with everyone, and you're getting so much feedback. Similarly, we can teach you in this club these, small kinds of activities which help you understand that there is so much potential in you, and you can actually make it an interesting product, whether it is a story or a visual narrative. So once we're done with this conference, we'll put out our announcement for the club and this idea of the landscape. And let's see, how many takers there are. And it'll be a really fun journey to do next year. And we can have the products ready for the conference, and teachers are welcome too. We can have teams that are different age groups as well, and we're all learning together.
Thank you, Dr. Matata. These are exciting ideas, and I hope we have a lot of people interested in them, and the word spreads to others as well who might be interested. Sunil, might I point out that we still haven't heard from the Green Tech in My Apartment team in response to Yashraj's question.
Yes, Anaga, Ashika, Arfa, will you please make yourself known? I am looking at the names here, and Arfa is here in
Arfa is
room
here.
2.
Arfa, can you unmute your mic and answer the question?
Yes, sir. I was not able to hear you clearly. Do you
Okay,
mind
can you hear now? Are you audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Are you able to read the question that is put in the chat window?
At 11:18 a.m.
Happy morning, sir. This is Ashika. So can I answer the question?
Yes, yes, anybody. But so long as you're on the team, please answer the question, because that question is posted in the chat window.
Yeah,
It's a
so
question
the
from
question is
Yashraj
that,
Rai.
about the disadvantages of terrace gardening.
Can you please speak up?
Can you hear me right now?
Your voice is feeble. Please speak up.
Hello. Is it right now?
Yeah, go ahead. Tech team, please see if you can increase the volume.
Okay, so the question is like about the disadvantages of terrace gardening and how can tech help there. So we have already addressed the point that about various apps that can give us the knowledge about what kind of plants are suitable to be grown on terrace. We also know that we've also stated and mentioned about water logging and many more things related to leakage and all. So when we talk about that, there are many apps available that can help us on knowing what factors are necessary for growing a particular plant. And at the same time, there are many other technologies like aeroponics, which doesn't use as much soil and water to grow plants. And there are many other plants where you do not need much of water. So those kinds of plants are helpful to be grown on terrace and can also be can also reduce these disadvantages. Also, it is expensive. If you put a little more effort, it is possible, I feel. So I hope I have answered Mr. Yashraj's question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Akash has just put up a message saying unable to unmute. Akash, please try now.
That Akash is actually the person who just spoke. Akash's sister.
Oh.
Akash is an alumnus of IGYS past.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Welcome back. All right. So now it is a little past 11:30. We should be heading.
There is a question from Ruhi Malik.
Yes.
In the chat window.
Kudos to the presentations. My question is for Aparna in Man of My Apartment. How did you come across the idea to work on such a micro level that is an apartment? Good question. Aparna, please.
Yes, sir. Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is, how did you come across the idea to work at such a micro level, an apartment? Aparna?
I wanted, sorry for the network issue. I thought of making this so that the idea can be known to everybody and I can appreciate it. Such small things can always make a huge difference everything, and I wanted this small idea to be known to many other people, and because not all of them have these type of ideas, they can do this in their apartment, and they can also have better they can also have this idea, and they can understand the technique that he had, and unique idea that he had. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Dr. Chandrasekhar, sir.
May I add to what Aparna just said? And one of the interesting things, Aparna, with what you have done is to show by example that whatever changes you need to bring about, you would like to bring about, it is good to start with your micro environment. That's where you have some amount of ability to make a change. You make it there and then share it with others, each of whom, as you said, can probably bring about those changes in their own small environments. Changes to begin somewhere. Sometimes you can't go just directly and bring about a large scale change. You have to begin somewhere. The small scale or micro level change is a good place to begin. And now that you have shared it here, who knows, others might be inspired to do the same in their own micro level environment. So good answer also. Thank you.
And let us not forget that the man of nature is still spreading the message in Pune.
Yeah.
So that is another factor we can be thankful for.
How ideas spread in geography. This is one of the things that geographers study. They're very interested in these kinds of things. So, perfect. Just to remind everyone that we're extending the conference session until noon for everyone. You're all welcome to stay back and continue the discussion if you would like to, particularly the students.
Dr. Mutata has raised her hand. Please go ahead.
Hey, was just Sunil, you can give me permission for this if you think it's okay. I wanted to take another vote from the students. I'd just like to see a show of hands. How many of you learn or participate in any sports activities, extracurricular sports activities? I'd just like to see a show of hands outside of school. 1, 2, 3.
That's 4, 5.
Six. Okay, do we have it on? Okay, so 6 of you. Okay. How many of you participate in extracurricular activities that have to do with arts and culture? You know, dance, music, painting, extracurricular.
More hands going up.
Yeah, 10, 12. Okay, double the number. Interesting. Okay, what about technology related courses, extracurricular? How many of you participate in that? So remember to lower your hand, but this is technology related extracurricular courses. Okay, can I have any one of these people who've raised their hands to give me an example of a type of course they're involved in? Technology related extracurricular course. Any one of you? Unmute and tell me.
Mom, I take coding classes.
Coding, okay. And what about the others? I'm curious to hear what type of technology related. Thank you.
I started to learn Python.
One by one, please. Akshavika.
I started to learn Python.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I started learning Python.
Sorry, what was that, Srivarsha?
Shrivarsha?
Just a quick reminder to Sunil and Mutata, there are some answers coming on the chat window also.
I also started learning Python.
Okay.
Good.
Chat window is a better idea. Thank you. Thanks, Chandra, for that, pointing that out.
I have another question. In addition to the culture and the technology, this is part of culture, how many of you present here actually read books regularly? You read them on paper format, you read them on Kindle, whatever, but you read. 9 people, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh my God, I am overwhelmed. Dr. Chandrasekhar, sir, time for TIGS to start a library.
Under consideration.
Thank you.
I have one more question for the board. So, how many of you participate in any subject or discipline-based clubs or extracurricular activities? Astronomy, physics, math, any
geography.
Geography. Because when I was growing up, that was very common. But I'm not sure what's going on today, so I'm trying to find out. My daughter is only 8 years old. So maybe I'm also trying to prepare myself, but I'm curious, how many of you participate in clubs that are subject or discipline based, extracurricular? And please type your answer in the chat box. What type of subject are you involved in? I see quite a few hands going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Almost 10.
11.
So I'm very curious to find out what are these subjects.
Quiz, book club, physics, public speaking, maths, diverse subjects, very good. Science.
No geography so far. How sad.
Dr. Chandrasekhar, Dr. Mutata, it is coming on to 11:45. We still have to get through your concluding remarks, please.
Okay.
Okay,
Shall we just wait until later? Now that we are on a roll right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want
quizzing.
One more vote.
Yeah. Ms. Ruhi, please go ahead. The floor is open.
Yeah, please. Yeah, Sunil, we have a few more questions, so I'll back off.
Okay, Yashraj, please go ahead. Khushi has also raised the hand. Khushi, go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Go ahead, please. You have a question? Question, compliment, comment, suggestion, proposal. We are open for anything.
Yeah, so I would like to speak something about IGYS. So it is my first time. It is my first time here in this conference, and I really heartfully, this is like a true thing which I really loved about IGYS is that everyone gets a chance to express their thoughts, ideas on this platform, and it is a very prestigious event. I would like to thank all the IGYS team members to put up this amazing event and show up. And so I would like to also say that it is not about it is more about participating, the experience was amazing being here.
Thank you. On behalf of the TIGS team, I accept your compliments. Look forward to seeing you at every single iteration of the IGYS, because remember, after 2022 comes 23, then 24, then 25, etc.
A quick response to Khushi, who just spoke. Next year, we are hoping to come back to having in-person conferences. One of the ideas that I have vaguely discussed with Ms. Ruhi Malik, your mentor, is to have a live conference at your school at some point during 2023. So this is something you can help us with planning and organizing at your school. So do discuss this with your teammates and with Ms. Malik, Ms. Ruhi, and so on. I have a request from Ms. Ruhi Malik that she's not able to unmute herself. This question is for Arav Dwivedi. A question for the trek is not about. Is man invading natural space and leaving unwanted remnants behind? What is your opinion? Arav, did you get that question? Do you want me to repeat it?
No, I get that.
Okay.
So if you take certain precautions and don't spread garbage, so we don't, that doesn't mean that we invade. But if you like litter that place and don't keep it clean, so it's invading. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think Khushi, Tanishka.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Even I wanted to talk a few words about my experience in IGYS, like the summit. So when I first, when our mentor first told us that there's going to be IGYS, and I was very excited because I have been listening to my seniors talk about their experience and how, enlightening it is. And I also wanted to be a part of it. So I enrolled my name, and it was actually really fun in the process. I was actually very scared at first, but during the survey and everything, it also gave me this unknown happiness that I had inside me, which it's like that experience is so nice. I don't know how to explain it. It's hard to
Is
explain
it
in words.
peaceful, Khushi?
Yes, like in a way it is peaceful, yes. And I would really thank the IGYS team, the TIGS team, for giving us this opportunity. And I wish next year we can meet in person, because I think that would be a different experience than in online sessions. Thank you.
Okay. Rishit, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I'm Yashraj here right now as my mic was muted.
Rishit, you'll have to speak up. You're barely audible. Speak up.
Hello? Is my voice coming?
Your voice is very faint. Increase your volume. Speak up, please. You also have to unmute yourself.
Hello, is my voice coming right now?
Speak closer to the mic.
Please.
Hello, is my voice coming right now?
Speak closer. You're audible but not clear. Speak closer to the mic. You're very feeble.
Yeah, is my voice coming right now?
It's coming, but you must speak more loudly.
Yeah.
Get closer to the mic.
No, Rishit is having technical issues, I think.
Okay. In which case, I have a question to ask. May I?
Wait, just hold on 1 second. Dr. Mutata has had a raised hand
Okay,
for
okay.
a while. Please.
Very quickly, I think we can request Rishit to type in his comment in the chat box. And
He just said technical problems. Yes.
Type into. Oh, well, maybe he will. But I just wanted to respond to Kushi's comment. Thanks, Kushi, for sharing that experience and the feeling of that experience. And I feel it resonates with me because I think that kind of a happiness or pleasure is sort of comes up when we are allowed to express ourselves. So a lot of what we're trying to do in TIGS is give children the space to express themselves through their creativity. So, you know, when you paint something, you express yourself. When you write a poem or you write something that you're feeling, you express yourself. Similarly, that curiosity that you have, when you convert it into a research project, it is a form of creative expression. And as human beings, when we create and express ourselves, we feel that happiness. So that's a lot of what we attempt to do in TIG. So it's very nice to hear your feedback. That expression is the same thing that I refer to when we say we want to equip children to produce knowledge and produce it in a creative fashion. I just wanted to share that. Thanks.
Okay. Dr. Chandrasekhar has his hand up. So go ahead.
Earlier, Dr. Mutata asked how many of you do this, how many of you. I'm very curious to know, among those present online at the moment, how many of you are teachers in the classrooms? Please raise your hand. Geography, teachers teaching geography or social science of any kind. Okay. Okay, we have 2 school teachers here, okay. Are there any of the participants from the NCERT textbook writers course who are present here? If so, please raise your hand. The others, please put your hand down. Lower your hands. I guess not. Okay. Right. Ms. Sarita, could you please put there, are you a teacher in a classroom or participating in the textbook writers work course or both? Could you please put that in the chat box? No, the specific question is, are you a teacher of social science, particularly geography? Or 2, are you participating in the textbook writers course by NCERT? Or 3, both? Okay, thank you. So one of the reasons for asking this question is that having participated in this IGOS and seen what children are capable of, do any of you have, I know for example with Deepika and with some of the other teachers, we have had past IGOS experience with them where they have mentored children to, as geography teachers, mentored children. Now, would you be willing to mentor children again for next year's IGOS? Because that's the only way it's going to happen. You as school teachers have continuous access to children. We don't. TIGS does not have that kind of continuous access, which means whatever we are trying to do, we will need your cooperation, your openness to letting children work on their own with just giving them enough mentorship so that they can produce geographical knowledge rather than just be consumers of. Is this something that you would be willing to work with children on? Please comment either in the chat box or audio, either way.
I think that would be Deepika and Ruhi. Ruhi is the other teacher.
And Ms. Sarita as well.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
She's an NCERT lecturer in geography.
I see.
So.
Sarita says yes.
Yes. So which means then the teachers in this group, please contact us. Even if you have worked with us before, please contact us from the website and let us know that you would like to work with us. So then what we will do is, as we get ready for IGYS 2023, we will keep you in the loop and you can help us organize it in such a way that the maximum number of students possible in your area, we can have them participating in a way that is similar to what children have done in this IGYS and past IGYS also. But the thing is, that commitment has to be all the way to the action, rather than, right now we are all very enthusiastic. We are in IGYS. Oh yes, let's do this, which is great. But that follow-up action, which is why I'm asking you to contact us and let us know, yes, you would like to work with us. So please do that so that we can have some idea of how committed you might be to working with us in helping children, particularly children in non-English medium schools, to present at IGYS, do research and present at IGYS. Okay? So we have all sorts of ideas that we would like to explore, but it will not happen until school teachers and school heads get involved and accept that idea. And one of the things, I'll make it very clear right now, this has come up in the past, at TIGS, we do not believe in any kind of competitions. Children have enough of those already. We do not give out prizes. We encourage children to explore joyously and learn from it. That's it. We do not have competitions of any kind. So some schools have objected that they don't want to send their children because they don't get anything out of TIGS, IGYS. This is very sad because these are very, very short-sighted heads of school who have no idea about learning. Sorry to say. So could you please, those of you who are interested in exploring our course that Dr. Mutata mentioned earlier, which has 10 sessions, if you are interested in that course, please get back to us by 30th of November. Yeah, by 30th. In answer to Ms. Ruhi's question, any certificates of participation for their efforts, this has already been stated repeatedly that it will be there. I'm surprised that you're asking the question now. Of course, the certificates will be sent out to each of the mentors, and you can then forward it to your students. Not an issue. This will be going out later today. This will be emailed later today as PDF files. Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, great. Oh, Tata, please.
Yeah, just as a closing remark, I'd like to again repeat that to all the students who participated, really wonderful effort working with Dr. Chandrasekhar and, putting out an initial idea, developing it, taking feedback, improving your videos. Excellent work. That too at the end of the year when you also have exams, we understand. And we really congratulate your efforts and interest, the interest that you took to carry through a project which you just did for your own fulfillment and joy. That's a very important quality and we recognize it. And thank you so much for being a part of the work that we're doing in TIGS.
Sunil, 30 seconds.
It has, of course, been very, very gratifying to see the hard work that students have put in. The end result speaks for themselves. And we can only hope that this movement that TIGS has started so many years ago now can rapidly make a mark on our young students who will then be able to, and this is one of the secret goals I have, when you go to the United States to do research and get PhD degrees, I want your professors in the US universities to say, hey, these kids know how to do research already. How wonderful is that? Because when I went to study, I didn't. It was hard. It really was very difficult. I don't want any of you to suffer from that, and hence all this effort into creating ways and means in which you can get these skills before you leave the shores of our motherland. 30 seconds done.
Done. Thank you all very much for giving us the pleasure and joy and the intellectual stimulation during this lovely conference experience. Thank you all very much. We hope to meet again, hopefully in person next year. Please keep in touch. Please go to the website, read up on the latest publications and so on and so forth. And we look forward to meeting you all again soon. Thank you all very much. Goodbye.